Hey y'all, it's Hannah Bell and you're Hanging with Hannah, where you and me get to hang out for a bit and have some real talk. So go ahead and get comfy, head on out to your porch, grab your dog, drink, snacks, whatever. Let's get to it.
You only have one life to live, so make it count while you can. Just be who you wanna be, smile and just be happy. You're gonna have some ups and downs you'll make through, and then you'll see how it could be.
I can't wait to grow up and be independent and on my own. I remember saying this so much as a kid, but now I'm all grown up and I wish I could go back. Let's relive the glory days in today's episode. And we are here with episode 6 of Hangin' with Hannah. So thankful for you guys who have been along with me on this journey. I've really enjoyed starting a podcast and just talking. Man, I love to talk. And so it has really been something fun for me. And remember, you can watch every podcast, starting with the last episode. I began recording or filming these live. And so you can watch them on YouTube. All you have to do is go to my YouTube channel, Hannah Bell Music, and you can watch every podcast. I'm not saying it's anything fancy. I mean, I'm literally in my home studio. My dog's asleep in the background. I look a mess, so it's nothing fancy, but it is pretty cool. I like to, you can see me while I'm talking about whatever I'm talking about. And this week we are talking about staying young forever, the miracle, the drink from the fountain of youth, like in Tuck Everlasting, the book. No, in all seriousness, come on, Hannah, get it out there. In all seriousness, I am talking about staying young just because we always wanted to grow up, right? We always said, oh, I can't wait to be older. I can't wait to be an adult. But man, here I am. I'm an adult and I'm looking back and I'm like, yee, I didn't know what I was wishing for. And so I have recently started, if you're following me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all those places, YouTube, you've probably seen my Child in Me mini-series where I have been going back and reliving some of my favorite childhood memories, and that's going to continue on. And it's all in promotion for a new single that I will be putting out soon called Little Girl. And I'll tell you a little bit about Little Girl in just a few minutes, but I've been having a great time with my Child in Me mini-series. So if you haven't watched it, go check it out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever. But I've just been reliving some things that I used to love to do as a child. And you know what? Yeah, I did those things when I was little, but it doesn't matter. You could still do them today as an adult. And I have been, and I've been having a blast. And so it's all to encourage you to just remember what it was like when you were young. And if you're still young, it's encouraging you to soak up every moment. We don't have to be young to feel young. Age is all a mindset. And so I've been having a blast. I mean, some of the things that I've done so far in my mini series, I went back to my mom and dad's house and I went fishing in the old pond. I built a fort in my living room. I've relived a favorite board game, the game of life. I love that game. I've ate some watermelon with the family. Just good old stuff that, as a child, you didn't realize how much fun and how just cool those things were. So I've been reliving some childhood memories. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about my childhood in this episode. A lot of the times in my podcast episodes, I'm doing some self-help or encouragement or positivity. But one of the goals of my podcast was to also allow you to get to know a little bit about me, your host, Hannah Bell. And one of the things I'd like to tell you about is growing up. So I, as you all know, I'm a music person, singer-songwriter, trying to make a big dream happen in this big old world. And I've always had this music bug, this music dream, and I've chased it ever since I was a little girl. But I grew up out in rural Mississippi, Red Lick, Mississippi. It is country as a dirt clod, I swear. Mom and Daddy still live there. A lot of family still lives out there. And my nieces and nephews are getting the opportunity to grow up in that same place that I did. And I promise you it's a blessing. I look back now and yeah, I lived 30 miles from town and I couldn't do everything that everybody else was doing because of that. But man, did we have some good times. I was just thinking back. My mama, she lived next door and she had a swimming pool, and we used to live in that swimming pool. I swear, during the summertime, when you got out from school and it was summer and it seemed like it would last forever, and it did when you were young. Summer seemed like a year long. I would live in my bathing suit. I swear, I would go from Mama's house to my house, back and forth to that swimming pool, and I had a blast doing that. But not only did we swim in Mama's swimming pool, Mom and Daddy had a few ponds out there, but we went swimming in those too. Yeah, feel the mud between your toes. We'd be swimming out in that pond, and just recently my nieces and nephews did the same thing, and it brought a lot of gladness to my heart to see them doing that. Another thing that I used to love to do as a child, and imagine this, but karaoke. Yes, indeed. I had a TV in my room, and I swear the TV was in my room just to karaoke because I didn't even have satellite on it at that time. And so I would hook that karaoke machine up to the TV, and I would be in there for hours karaoke. And my sister would join me sometimes, mom and dad, brother, everybody would get in there at some points. We'd take it to the living room and put it on the big screen. We'd have us a karaoke party. Good times, I tell you. I learned to sing some of my favorite cover songs through karaokeing. I had a big old playhouse. It wasn't even a playhouse. It was kind of a two-story thing on the bottom. It didn't have walls. It did have stairs, though, and you could go upstairs and you could look over the land. It had a little latch. I'd go up in that playhouse and hang out in there for hours, make some mud pies. I had a little mini radio that I'd take up there and I'd listen to, write in my journal, read my American Girl books, take my American Girl doll with me. Good times, solitude in the playhouse. We had horses growing up. I'd ride my horse. I'd ride my four-wheeler, pretend that I was riding down the road on my four-wheeler, doing whatever I wanted to. My sister and I played Barbies and dolls and just all kinds of stuff. But some of my favorite memories are our family vacations. My mama had a Blazer, and we'd put those seats down. It was illegal because we weren't buckled up. We'd put those seats down, and we'd take blankets and pillows, and we'd cover up and lay down and ride to, most of the time we were going to Gulf Shores, Alabama, and we would ride like that. We'd listen to oldies. Man, good times growing up. And so I thought about this as I was writing this song that's coming out, Little Girl. And I just want to tell you a little bit about the story of the song. I was actually at one of my niece's birthday parties, and I was watching her blow out the candles, and she was turning 9, I believe, 9 or 10, somewhere along in there. And I remember when I turned 10, y'all, I cried because it was double digits. I was like, oh no, I'm getting old, double digits. I cried. I feel like I knew as a child what growing up was, and that it wasn't going to be all rainbows and butterflies. But I was at this birthday party for my niece, and I was watching her blow out those candles, and I just thought, man, time sure does fly. And I thought about how it just slips on by. Life just slips on by just so fast. And how you don't even realize it. And when you're a kid, you have so many wonderful things going on. You have family that loves you and cares for you. You got friends, you have imagination, you have creativity. And it's just some of the greatest times of your life, being a kid. And I was looking at my niece and watching her blow out that candle and just thinking, soak it up. Soak it up. And then I thought about my nieces and how they're young and how they look at the world with such an innocent view, and how they'll talk to anybody and smile and wave and just be sweet, and how innocent they are. And I thought, what a way to look at the world. Now, I know we can't be naive, and I know that we can't just go in thinking everyone's good, because they're not. But sometimes the way that a child looks at the world is the way that we as adults need to remember to look at the world, because yes, there are bad people, but not all people are bad. And I just thought about that innocence, and I thought about that childlike feel of growing up, and how we take it for granted. We take being kids for granted. And I think that as we get older and when we get to this realm of adulthood, we realize how good we had it as a kid. And so I wrote this song called Little Girl, and it was for my nieces. And it just talks about staying young, looking at the world the way that you do right now as a child. Talks about how time is a thief and how you should slow down and soak up every moment. It gets into, in the second verse, it talks about a girl, maybe a teenage girl, and who is having to battle between being in the in crowd or being herself, and staying true to what she believes, and just staying innocent as long as you can. And that's kind of the mindset behind Little Girl and why I wrote it. And we got to film a really cool music video for it, and it's got little girls in it, and they are so precious. And they're doing their ballet dance, and it's going to be a really cool thing to see. It makes me emotional just thinking about it. But I wanted to write this song for my nieces. It was never intended to be put out there. It was never intended to be released, but I think that it can be a reminder to us in our adulthood, even those of you who are teenagers and just can't wait to be 18 and be on your own, to remember each moment of life is special. Each moment of life that you're in is special, and you only get to do it once. You only get to be a kid once. You only get to be a teenager once. I only get to be 33 years old once, even though it's not my favorite age. But I only get to be it once. Time flies. Time is a thief. It goes by, and you look back and you wonder, where were you when all that took place? Because it happened so quickly. And so as you think about that, I want you just to remember to soak up every moment that you're living in, wherever you are at in life, because it is a special time, and it's the only time you'll get to live that moment. So soak it up. And if you're a little girl, always look at the world the way you do right now. That's a line from one of the songs, the song Little Girl. And so it'll be out soon. And this isn't to promote the song, but I thought that it was a great backstory, just to encourage you to stay young, live in the moment, don't let it pass you by, and be on the lookout for Little Girl coming out soon, and keep up with the mini-series too. It's pretty fun. So soak it up, y'all. You only get this one life to live. You've been listening to Hangin' with Hannah with yours truly, Hannah. Thanks so much for hanging out and having some real talk with me. Remember to follow me on Facebook at Hannah Music and Instagram at Hannah322. You can also find out more about me and what I do at my website, hannah-bell.com. I can't wait to connect with you. Tune in next time where we will talk about self-care. I know, lame topic, but give it a chance. It might be a different approach to self-care than what you've heard or tried before. See you then on Hangin' with Hannah.